I am so discombobulated today. Do y'all know what that means? That's a southern thing too, I think. Anyway, there's like this frenzy going on in my head. I'm trying to get this video made, and there are things I need to do, and I got all these patterns that are saying stitch me, and I can't do them all at once. What do y'all do when that happens? I don't know. I have so much stuff to tell y'all today. First of all, I just looked at my last video and realized that I had the very same thing on then that I have on today. It has been washed, I promise. But I do tend to wear this a lot. It's cold and rainy, and the most comfortable thing in the world is a man's t-shirt and a man's wool or flannel shirt, and so I wear them all the time. McKenna, just wanted you to know that this is what I'm wearing today. This is my idea of heels. I got rid of all my heels when I turned 60, 10 years ago, because I knew the likelihood of me falling had increased exponentially. I fell a lot when I was young, so it's bound to get bad as I get older. In fact, I fell a couple of times and broke my pelvis, cracked my pelvis. I had a lot of problems with that. Okay, I'm in a different place. I'm in my stitching chair, which y'all have seen several times before. But y'all, that whole thing about getting 70, I really wasn't kidding about that. It does things to you. Our house, I got to explain why this is different. When you walk in the living room, in the front door of our house, you walk into just a little tiny foyer, but then there's a big, long living room, dining room. It's about 30 feet long, I think, and maybe 15, 18 feet wide. But when this house was built back in 1975, there's a kitchen and bedroom on one end and 2 bedrooms on the other end. And it's like a U shape. The bedrooms had French doors that opened onto a deck that ran between the 2 legs of the U. Okay, picture that. In 1991, there was a flood, a bad one here, and there was 52 inches of water in this house, which means it was a picture up to the top of the doorways that you walk through. That's where the water was. We didn't own this house at the time. So when the waters receded, they gutted the house and redid it. And in doing so, they decided to enclose that deck and make what they call a sunroom. That's a joke because it has a couple of patio doors and it has 4 windows, but right in the middle back there they built a huge stone fireplace. So only one wall has windows and doors, but half of that's cut off with the fireplace. So it's not a bright room. But the problem with that room is that you got to step down to get into it, and the step was a little too deep for 1 step and not enough for 2, and they put 1 because it was probably a man that decided that, whose legs were much longer than mine. I'm having trouble negotiating that step 20 times a day to get down to my stitching chair. The nice thing about it's open, by the way, all the way, probably 3/4 of the wall from the living room into the sunroom is an open area. And so the nice thing about that was I could have my stitching chair down in the sunroom, and my husband could sit in the living room in his recliner with his earphones on and watch every ball game, listen to every newscast, and I didn't have to hear any of that, but I could see him and have a conversation with him. Now, some people really wouldn't like that you weren't in the same room all the time, but good grief, we've been married over 52 years, and we've been in the same room a lot of that time, so we're okay with being in separate rooms where we can see each other. Anyway, last week, we moved furniture. We moved him to the sunroom and put me in the living room so I wouldn't have to negotiate that step. That involved, this is a long story, isn't it? That involved a lot of soul searching on my part, because vanity, thy name is woman. Several years ago, 7 years ago maybe, I hired an interior designer to come in and rearrange my living room with my stuff. I bought a few new things, not much. And I absolutely loved what she did, loved every bit of it. But for me, as I age, to be able to negotiate this house, we are having to make some adjustments. I have really bad arthritis, as I've told y'all before. My joints are bad, and I just finished my occupational therapy for my hand. Now I'm doing physical therapy for my back, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, so I have made for myself in the living room. My son-in-law came in and said, "Wow, that is a workstation," and that's what it is. I am surrounded by my things. This room is not as aesthetically pleasing as it once was, but you know what? I think I've outgrown that. I think I don't care. I don't care what people think when they come in. This is my home, and this is where I live, and this is where I stitch, and so I want it all around me. I want everything around me where I can see it and touch it and feel it and be happy about having it. I feel absolutely no guilt at anything I buy because I don't buy anything I can't afford to pay for. I'm sure not doing that whole stitch from stash thing that has a budget because, I'm not good with budgets, okay? Anyway, so I'm in a different spot. On a sunny day, the light will be really good in here because I have a sun pipe in this room that's right out in front of me. But today there is no sun. There's nothing but gray clouds. So I'm going to show you kind of where we are. I moved all my DMC chests right in here. And actually that's kind of to my left and behind me. All those threads laying on top are ones that I've just finished using, and they have to be reinserted into the drawers. And back behind that, and I don't know if it's to the right or the left because this is going to be reversed, I think. But anyway, I have needle minders, and I have some patterns that I've bought, within the last 6 months that I love and don't want to forget about when I put them in a drawer. And back behind me on this side, I have a basket that has everything I am currently stitching on, with my little bags that has, I have all the scroll frames and the whatever those things are on. And then on this other side, I have my lap frame, and I have a basket with everything that's been kitted up. I have about 25 things, either works in progress or kitted up. And they're all around me, and I don't care. I like them there. So, different place, same shirt. I didn't even put makeup on. I put some lipstick on, but I didn't even put makeup on today, and y'all probably can't even tell that. It's too dark. Well, I do have eyeliner because I had that tattooed on years ago when I started losing my close-up vision. Last time I was on here, I told you that my husband and I had loaned out our house for the weekend, and we were going to Memphis. We were going to have a long weekend. Well, all of that changed. I got sick, had a sinus infection, and my sister, who lives 400 miles from me, and who has been my best friend for 68 years today, because today's her birthday, Valentine's Day birthday, got the flu 3.5 weeks ago. And y'all, you don't want to have the flu, I promise you. She was deathly ill, very, very, very ill. We canceled our Memphis trip, thinking that I would go up there to help her, but she was so sick that I couldn't go. It was too dangerous for me to go, because even though I've had a flu shot, if I get the flu at my age, it can be bad. It was bad for her. She went to the hospital twice to get IV fluids and meds, and it's been 3.5 weeks, and she still doesn't have her voice back completely, and it's probably going to be another couple of weeks before she's able to talk like she was, and for her, that's a death sentence, I promise you, because she's the talker. Well, when we had canceled the Memphis trip and we couldn't go see her, we decided to go to Branson for the weekend. It was Super Bowl weekend, and so that's what we did. We went to Branson. And I did buy some things because there was a sale, of course, on Super Bowl weekend. And I'll show you those in a minute. Meanwhile, what else have I done? Done all those. This is my time of year to do doctor's appointments. So I've been to the eye doctor, and my eyes have not changed. I'm still wearing a 4.0 reader, which is awful because you have to order those. You can't buy them in town. I'm doing physical therapy for my back, and that's feeling a little better. Went to see my primary care physician. Went to see my cardiologist. I'm healthy as a horse. My blood pressure is 127 over 64. My heart rate's 65. I don't think you can get any better than that. If you can, I don't know what it is. Maybe a runner could be better than that. I don't know. Anyhow, that's where I am. I've read all that from my notes. Y'all can tell that. I have finishes. I don't remember. First of all, I don't remember where I got this pattern, but I think it was on Etsy. It says Faith, Hope, Love. It was a quick stitch. This is, I think, 18 count Aida, probably a cream or parchment color. A couple of years ago, my son-in-law's mother died, and she had a stack of Aida cloth that I inherited from her. So I'm trying to use that for little things like this, but y'all, I hate stitching on Aida. It is so stiff. All I did on this one was put a little bit of rickrack around the outside edge and make it into a pillow. I did a center seam, and I still cannot get a center seam done back here without some gathers. I keep stretching it out thinking but it won't. Anyway. Then I did the needle worker. And I have finished this one. Oops, I'm dropping things, y'all. Just a second. Well, drat. I'm determined to get that because I'm going to show it to you. The needle worker, and I finished it, but I don't like it, so I'm going to redo it. I'm really bad about that. I'm really bad about finishing things and then deciding that's not what I wanted. I like the length. I like the rickrack on the ends, but I didn't get it smooth enough right through here, so there's a little bit of a wrinkle. I'm going to take this off and re-stretch it. And also, who was it? Stitching Floor, I think, that I saw that had just done this, and she had used Krennic for the needle, and it didn't occur to me to do that. But I think I may take that out and go back and use some Krennic or some DMC Metallic, one or the other. This is just a completely flat finish, and I put it on an easel. And I like that. I'm just going to re-stretch it so that it looks a little bit better. Then I have, where is my other one? Oh, Little House Needleworks Sheep Virtues. I stitched this one. Let's see. Can you see that? There we go. That's a little bit better. Wisdom. I had done two others and finished them like it shows on the pattern. If you've seen those, they're mounted onto a piece of wool. The wool is all around. Well, I decided I didn't really like that, so I changed it up. This is wool, and it's wool on the back. The backing is wool, but what I did was cut a piece of wool the same width as this, but longer. And when I stitched it here and wrapped it around, it left me this band so that I don't have a seam right here. And I like that. I really like not having a seam. I added the buttons. It had a little apple button with it right here, but I didn't care for it, so I left that off. And then I decided, since I had done that, that I would redo the other two, and I have done one of them, and it is Faith. I did use the star buttons on this one. I glued those on. I hope they hold. I used a little bit of Aleene's, and I'm using wool on the backs of these. I have a huge tubby of wool because I love to do wool applique. So I really like the way that one finished up. And then Abby Bella Stitch, hope you're doing okay, darling, sent me this little pattern with some stuff I ordered from her. It's called Boo Moon. And I finished it. This fabric has kind of a metallic, there you go, spider web right there. And I did a center seam and put a little button on the back of that one. And I love the way that finished as well. And I love the little sparkly parts right there. Okay. I've also finished, but not fully finished. Let's see. This, which is Little House Needleworks, and it's called Tree of Life. It says the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and it's from Proverbs 11:30. I love Little House Needleworks. Just love them. Have lots of their patterns. But this particular pattern, it's not going to be one of my favorites. First of all, I don't like the way the pattern is. I don't like this picture because it's not valid. It's not true to colors. And it doesn't really show you what it looks like stitched. And then when I started stitching it, I did not like the colors when I pulled them out. So I changed colors. Some of the ones I use, let's see, are crescent colors. But the red I changed, and that's a DMC color. It also shows a border in black, and I didn't like that at all. I tried doing a brown border like the tree, and I tried a red border like the apples. Didn't like any of that. So I think when I finish this one, fully finish this one, I will either use some of this dark red rickrack or braid, maybe I'll make some braid out of the DMC thread to go around that. I don't know. I'll add a little something to it to make a border, but I'm not going to stitch a border. Then I thought I would show you this little piece. I didn't do this year. I did this last year. I should have ironed that, shouldn't I? It's a little sack. I think that's a free pattern, and I can't tell you where or who because y'all, that was last year. I don't remember. I don't remember any of that. But I used an orange gingham and orange rickrack on it, and it looks to me like it's probably a 36 count linen. And you can't see the bunny so much, but there's little bunny ears sticking out of that carrot. Love him. I have not worked on not even one of my bigger projects. I had said I was going to work on my Hands by Vervaco, that kit, on Saturdays, and Rosewood Manor, Cornwall Cottage Sampler on Sundays. I didn't do it. Not a time. I just could not face it. I did get the fabric on my scroll rods for And a Forest Grew so that I can start that one. But I'm not going to start it this week. And I'm not going to work on those others this week. In fact, I'm going to go see my sister because she's well enough now that I can. And you know how that is when somebody you love's been sick. You just want to go see them and touch them and make sure that they're okay. So I am going to go do that, and I'll take some stitching with me, but I'm not going to take any of those big projects. I've got all of the rest of the Little House Needleworks Sheep's Virtues, and I'm going to take those with me. I probably won't get one done, but I'll get part of one done, and maybe I'll get a whole one done. It depends on how much time we spend stitching. gosh, all of a sudden it got a little bit brighter outside. Then you can see it coming in. Okay, what I'm going to take with me in addition, that's probably what I'm going to work on, is this Lizzie Kate. And I'm going to be stitching that for my sister. You would have to know her. She is a powerful prayer warrior, for those of you who believe in that. She has told me for years and years that she prays every day that she will die 1 minute before me, so that she doesn't have to grieve over me, and so that I don't have to grieve over her but 1 minute. Well, when Lizzie Kate came out with this pattern, and it says, if you live to be 100, I want to live to be 100 minus 1 day, so I never have to live a day without you. I thought that was so perfect for her. Perfect. So that's going to be my next stitch, and I'm doing it on a 30 count even weave, and I think that color is pretty true. It's pretty close to the color of my chair, maybe a little bit darker. And I don't have a clue what the name of that is, but it was in my stash, and so I'm going to do that. That's my next start, plus the sheep's virtues. I'm going to try to finish up some of those. Now, what did I buy when I went to Branson to Cecilia's Samplers? She had 25% off everything in the store. I tried really hard to be careful because I don't need anything. I don't need anything. But I wanted a couple of things. Before I went, I knew I had a list. I had 10 of the Little House Needleworks Hometown Holiday Series. And I bought the last 3. I think they only have 13 right now. This one is the Schoolhouse. And this one is the Bookstore. And this one is the Hometown Diner. And I bought this fabric to stitch all of those on. This is a large piece, and I'm going to have to take one of the patterns out, and I'm going to stitch 3 rows 4 across. Not soon. I got other stuff that's got to be done first, but this is going to be my next big project, I think, except for my Heaven and Earth designs. That's a big one that I got everything in for it this month too. The fabric and all the threads. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Okay, I also bought this Lizzie Kate. This will be one of my dark 13 stitching things that stitch along. I'm working on Pumpkin Pocket right now. I'm not crazy about that pattern. In fact, I think I'm going to put it aside and do this one next month. In fact, I could probably finish that in a day. I don't like this border across the bottom very much, so I probably will change that. And they had this one made into a pillow. It says collect moments, not things. And I just love it. Love it. Okay. And then I thought I was going to get this one stitched for Valentine's, but it didn't happen. This is a Pineberry Lane, and it's called Tokens of Affection. And one is for a friend, right, like a stitching buddy. And one is for your significant other. And then I bought a couple of just fat pieces of fabric. This one is a 28 count. It's called Coffee Bean. Really dark brown. Really dark brown. This one is a rusty brown called Gingerbread. I don't have a clue what I'm going to use those for, but I think one of them, oh yeah, I think I'm going to use the gingerbread for this one, for this October one. I think that's what I decided. And look at this piece I found, y'all. Okay, I don't know what this, oh, here it is. 32 count Hodigan's Ghost, it says. There are little ghosts flying around all over this fabric, and it's sparkly. See this little ghost right here? There's his head right there. Cute all over this fabric. And isn't that going to be cute for, I don't know. I have a couple of Halloween patterns that I'm pretty sure I can use that on. Okay, I think that is all that I bought, or at least it's all I'm going to confess to. I want to tell you that today is February 14th, Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day, y'all. And I looked back. I don't keep up with my hours or anything like that, but I do write down every day what I've stitched on that day, so that I'll know how many days it took me to do a certain project. I am absolutely horrible at looking at a pattern and saying, oh, I can do that in a couple of days, and it takes 6. I can't judge. And I stitch almost every night, 3 hours, maybe more, because, you know, I'm 70 and I'm retired. So, anyway, today's February the 14th, and I have stitched on something every single day this year. Actually, longer than that, because I stitched every single day in December, I think. But at least this year, I'm going to keep up with that and see if I can do it. I'm not as organized as Stitching Petunia. She stitches 17 stitches every day on something and 30 minutes on this, and I can't keep up with that. I can't keep up with the time. I barely know what day it is, and sometimes I don't know that. But then I don't need to know that. So anyway, I think that's all I have. I hope that this has recorded, because sometimes I just talk away and it doesn't do a thing. Can y'all see my needle minders back there? I made those top ones. I found those at Michael's, and they were refrigerator magnets, but they were actually in the office supplies. So they were bulletin board magnets is what they were. But the magnets were just no good at all. So I glued magnets on the back of them, and they're on I found a metal box, kind of like a cookie box. I think cookies came in it maybe, and that's the lid. And so I've got needle minders all in that, and also on my lamp that's beside me. I'll show you. Can you? Oh yeah, there you can see. I have needle minders up in there too. But those were a lot of fun to make, and I like them. They're fun. So that's all I have. Hope y'all have a great stitching week. Hope this weather gets better soon, and I hope to see you back. Bye-bye.